Hello, welcome all. Welcome in another important video. I hope you all are doing great. So this video onwards, we'll be starting with Solidity programming language. With the help of Solidity, we will try to write some Ethereum smart contracts. And after writing smart contracts, we will try to deploy it on Ethereum blockchain. So now what is Solidity? Solidity is programming language, and it is not just a programming language. It is object-oriented programming language. So if you might have learned programming languages such as Java or maybe C++ or maybe JavaScript, they all works on object-oriented principle. So in object-oriented programming language, we declare classes, we write functions inside of it, we declare some properties inside, and then we try to use that properties and functions by creating object of that class. So when we will write our first program in Solidity, you will observe that this syntax is somewhat similar to classes syntax of JavaScript. Solidity is also high-level programming language. So the code that we are going to write in Solidity will be just in English words. It is high-level language code, right? So reason why we are learning Solidity programming language is because we want to create smart contracts. We'll see what is smart contracts and how it actually works in a moment. But for now, let's know more about Solidity. So Solidity is highly influenced by three programming languages, C++, Python and JavaScript. And as I already told you that when we will write our first Solidity program, you will observe that this is a combination of C++, JavaScript and Python syntax. So learning syntax of Solidity and understanding it will not be too much difficult if you know this. If you know any one of this language. Alright, another thing that we need to know about Solidity is it is statically typed language. That means the variable declaration type as well as your function returning type should be declared by the time of compilation. So this is statically typed language. Another thing is it supports inheritance, libraries, complex user interface and a lot of other things, right? Now here they have given some of the use cases of Solidity. So we can create voting application, we can create crowdfunding application, blind auctions, we can create multi-signature wallets using Solidity smart contracts. So we'll try to write our own Solidity smart contracts in upcoming videos. So by the time I'm recording this video, current version of Solidity is 0.8.11, and this is really important because Solidity is still growing and it is improving. So the version that you're using might have some bugs, and it is recommended to use latest version of Solidity all the time. Alright, so now let's try to understand what is smart contracts, because eventually using Solidity we are going to create a smart contract. So smart contracts is nothing but a contract that executes itself, right? So this is the documentation of Investopedia. I'll put the link in the description. So smart contract is nothing but a contract that executes itself. So in general terms, when we use contracts, because we want to agree on some terms and conditions. Let's say if you want to take any house on a rent, you will contact to the house owner. House owner will create contract with terms and conditions written, and he will ask you to sign on that contract. So as soon as you agree on these terms and conditions, your contract will get complete. In the same way, in blockchain, we write smart contracts when we want to do some transaction between two parties. Since we know that blockchain works on a principle of peer-to-peer network, when person A wants to send some Ethereum to person B, he can easily do that without need of any other middle party. So in a blockchain also we require contracts, because let's say if we want to send some money from account A to account B, so in that case there will be a lot of different conditions that we need to check, and that all conditions gets checked by our smart contracts. So smart contracts check if the person A has that balance in his account or not, which he wants to send to person B. If the balance is not sufficient, smart contract will simply reject that request. So there will be a lot of different other conditions that needs to check before the actual transaction will get complete, and that gets taken care by smart contracts. Now the reason why we call this smart contract is because there is no involvement of central parties, and whenever new transaction gets requested, smart contracts check all the conditions, and based on the conditions results, it fulfills that requirement. Alright, so I hope you have understood the basics of smart contracts. So let's take another example here. Here is again nice diagram provided by Investopedia. And as you can see, this is the current situation. When someone wants to buy any house, he has to contact seller, and lawyers, brokers and insurance persons will be the middleware. They will create contract for you, and if both parties will be agree on that contract, Bob will be able to sell that house to Alice. We can do the same thing using smart contract, but here is slightly different. If Alice want to buy house from Bob, he has to simply request in that contract, and based on the conditions of the contract, if Alice agree on that smart contract condition, Bob will be able to sell his house to Alice, and entire transaction will be recorded on this blockchain. So here is some of the benefits of using smart contracts. First is, once you execute your smart contracts, you cannot change it. Let's say if Alice don't want to buy his house and he initiated a transaction, he cannot reverse it. Let's say if Alice is not agree on some of the terms and conditions and he want to stop his transaction, he cannot do that because it is already stored on a blockchain, and you cannot change anything in a blockchain unless and until you have majority votes on your side. So that is the benefit of smart contracts, because if someone wants to cheat or someone wants to disagree that agreement, he will not be able to do that, right? Again, the second benefit of using smart contract, it is completely transparent. So if someone wants to check any transaction inside of the blockchain and he has enough access to get that information, he can easily grab that information and see that transactions. The next thing is traceable. Let's say if Alice is the first owner, let's say if Bob is the first owner of his house and he sell it to the Alice, then Alice sell it to next person, and the next person sell it to another person. So you can trace the first owner of this transaction. With the help of blockchain, you can build a trust. I think that's enough for the introduction. From the next video, we will create our first ever smart contract using Solidity. So I think that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.